to me, man, I made so many friends after that that I realized that I carried my baggage with me to the other country, and I created a little America around me with my attitude. I had to change that attitude because I was no longer there. And the reason why I'm saying this is because
Yeah.
a lot of us are moving to the continent, and we're bringing our baggage from the diaspora to the continent. And you see it in some channels,
Mm.
people bullying people on their channels and acting a certain way, and they're not in the United States anymore. And you're like,
Yeah.
man, you got to leave that home because you're free.
So it's pretty much the idea. It's pretty much the idea of like somebody said, both parties unfortunately see it's this problem. It's the mental conditioning that we see the West as heaven, and like you say, we weaponize that against ourselves. Because I'm telling you, man, I've personally observed this for years, and I'm sure many people know this. These whole papers, status, citizenship thing is so big in our community. Like, you cannot be in the room packed full of black folks in our community here, and and the moment somebody says, "Hey man, that guy's he's illegal or hasn't got his papers and stuff," you are instantaneously undermined.
Exactly.
God forbid, you get an argument with someone or you stepped in someone's shoes. They want you to know that you're a nobody. I've seen people that got in an argument at a house party, with just an argument over a plate of food. I'll get my food myself. No, I'm the guy in charge of the food. No, no, you don't tell me what to do. Just some nonsense, right? And then people
Yeah.
were like, hey, calm down, chill out, and all that stuff. And then out of nowhere, the guy behind the table was like, "How dare you, man? Listen, if you go beyond your bounds, I'll get immigration to remove you tonight." And everything ground to a halt, like, whoa, you know. And you could see the panic in the face of the other guy. He had to abandon the food and run out. And later, because I didn't know him personally, but later on, somebody told me that he was so terrified that he had to move away from where, he was leaving, and had to go hide, even abandon a couple of jobs that he had because of fear that he might get captured and get deported. So it broke my heart. And I see this a lot, even amongst family members. Like, oh, such and such. I know someone, this is like amongst a family tree. So just like, say, you are my brother, and then you must have introduced me to someone that you know. And then years down the line, you and I are arguing about football. And then you turn around and say, oh, you wouldn't have been a permanent resident in the UK today if I didn't introduce you to such and such and such. You better be careful the way you talk to me. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
It's a mindset, and I don't think it can be cured. Not in our lifetime. Maybe one day it will be. I mean, if you look at what's going on here in the United States, there's kids in cages at the border. So imagine if you're here in the United States and someone thinks you're illegal, and they like, well, they got kids in cages in the border, and they got this and that. You're frightened because ICE could knock on your door. They don't even have to knock on your door. They just kick your door in and come in and remove you.
absolutely.
And, yeah, and so people are afraid. They're frightened, and we use it against our own people. It's terrible.
It's sad.
Never mind if it's an interracial couple. I mean, you're just living in fear. So I would
Yeah.
advise any African person, especially if you have any kind of means, you got a little chicken farm, a little pole. It seems like a little small thing. You got the world. Stay where you
Of
are.
course.
Yeah. This is not
Thank
a
you, bro.
dream over here. It's like my backdrop. It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a fantasy. It's not a dream. We're actually living in a nightmare. But anyway, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I love your stories, man. Love them.
Thank you, my brother, man. Let me bring on the next person. Thank you, man.
All right, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
All right, man. Bye. Ella.
Hi, Franklin.
Hi, what's
Good
up?
evening. I'm good. Good evening. I just have a little take on your topic, and I want to go back a bit by saying it all starts with your mindset. If you're going to get married to someone and your mindset is already bad, that's the beginning of the problem. It means you are going into that marriage like a thief. So you're one leg in, one leg out. You're not putting your 100% in the marriage. So I'm always going to look suspicious to you, even though that's not what I have in mind. And we have this thing. We're coming from Africa. We already had stories, so many stories while in Nigeria. And the mistake that most people make, especially the men, is that if you're leaving the UK or the US and you're going to Africa to get a wife, you don't know what she's had. And you don't know her mindset. So if you're going to Africa to get a wife that you're going to subdue, you don't know if she's coming prepared already for you. And if you're a woman, you're going to Nigeria to go ship a husband for yourself. Sorry, you might just get a bad cargo. So it all starts with what we have in mind. Most people that really have in mind to get great love end up being disappointed. So because of this dubious character that we have, I'm very sorry to say it, like about 70 or 60% of us have that. Yeah. Even though we are the most religious, God-calling, self-righteous, holier than thou set of people that I have ever met, myself included, we have this tint of blackness in us that goes very, very deep within. We see it everywhere, in churches, in businesses, everybody's looking for a way to rip you off. Yeah. So if sometimes is what you give, what you give is basically what you get. I'm very sorry to say, our mindset is bad. And we are not ready to have this conversation at all.
That's why I'm having this conversation.
Sorry, you were saying?
I said that's why I'm bringing up this conversation, because we need to have this conversation.
Oh, Franklin, believe me, if we are being frank with ourselves, we are not ready to. So we have to start from the roots, mindset, religion, backgrounds, how we raise our boys and girls. Because we raise boys to basically believe they are kings. So they have this fragile ego that everything they do, everything you do, you practically just rub off that ego. You just break it a little and all hell is let loose. Girls are raised to guard marriage with their life. You basically protect your marriage with your life. There is no, like the woman that was shouting out to her baby daddy, the one that the child wrote a book. We don't do that in Africa. We don't. I'm sorry. We don't shout out. We stay in there and die with that marriage. That's how we were raised to be. We pray and then we hope for the best. We don't actually work on our character. We just like to put off this pretend, this, oh, my sister, how are you? We give God the glory is well. It's not well, you are dying. My brother, how are you? How is it going? I'm hanging in there. You're not hanging in there. You're basically being frustrated. So that is how all those things, that's how we are meant to view it. The woman that shipped the husband from America, she already has a mindset going there. So what she was expecting was not what she saw, and what the man was expecting was not what he saw. Mindset and expectation. That's what kills us when we come abroad, especially when we come to a foreign land where everything is foreign, where a woman suddenly realizes her power. That's that's another thing. And where a man suddenly is like, oops, wait, I have to keep this in check. I have to check this. I have to keep this in check. That's where the clash comes in. You have clash of power, where a man is trying to retain his power that he thinks he has, that he has been raised up to believe he has, and a woman who suddenly wakes up to realize, wow, I got the power. That's where the problem comes in. And that's one conversation that we are not ready to have, because the Bible brings submission in and places a man on top. Culture places a man on top. Religion places a man on top. Tradition places a man on top. So when men come abroad, they find it very, very difficult to fit in, especially African men. And when women come abroad, especially the self-made women, you realize that they are very, very, very complicated at times to live with, especially if the person that the power got into her head. It's like a clash of where I'm coming from. I got no power, and I'm here. I got the power. And men coming from a place where they have all the power, and suddenly they are in a place where they realize, not so much. That has always been our problem, especially people that are coming from the African descent when we come abroad. And that's where we have these clashes. We always wanted to say, don't forget I gave you paper, because we want to keep the other person in check. Like, don't overstep your boundaries. I made you who you are. I made you this, I made you that. We even tell it to our children. I carried you for 9 months in my womb. We know that. But we always want to keep.
This is why some. Do you think this is why some people would always advise, don't, because I hear that a lot. Don't bring partners from Africa. Don't bring a partner from Africa to overseas and stuff. But why is the case though? Why is that the case? Why?
Again, mindset, frankly, because we believe it's like when I was about getting married, my husband got a lot of not to bring me abroad, right? Because I was educated, and I was a typical Nigerian girl that is not coming from the village. I'm coming from township. So most people have already described me as someone that's going to leave. So it's been almost more than 10 years and running. The thing is, because I had a different mindset coming, and he had like the same mindset. Let's make it work. It's all about love. If I was coming to put him in my pockets, believe me, we wouldn't be here today. Or if I'm coming and then I came to suddenly realize I had the power, that's another problem. And what you're saying, majority of the problem, I'm very, very sorry to say it, are the men's fault. Because it's the men.
Hold on, let me take off my shirt. What do you mean it's the men?
most marriages that disintegrate abroad, the fault is always that of the man. Because, again, power is intoxicating. If I have power, I wouldn't want to give it away easily. So if I, as a woman, am being raised to guard my marriage with my life, that follows me everywhere I go. It follows me practically everywhere. So if you meet a man that has been raised, a typical Nigerian man is raised that a woman cooks, clean, washes the dishes, take care of the house. But when you come abroad, sometimes it's not like that, especially when both parties work. And especially when both parties pay the bill. Sometimes you might not get a woman washing and cleaning for you. Sometimes most of the house chores wait for you.
Mm.
That's where most of the problem, if you check, majority of the problem is coming from is house chores, cleaning, washing, cooking.
Baby, can I get you to put the clothings in the washing machine? How dare you? We don't do
Genau, exactly, Frankie. Now you're getting me. It's like always, how dare you? Like in Africa, you do that. Why can't you do it now? But it's not the same here. So if you don't want to help, or if you're not ready to be a partner, and that's why I hate when somebody always quotes the Bible, women submit to your men. We are supposed to be submitting to each other. You understand me? I'm sorry, it comes from also from most religious people. That's where they also spoil marriages. When you keep quoting this Bible, when
Audrey,
you keep quoting,
somebody said, kneel down and serve my food.
Exactly. I've heard that too. I've heard that too. When you keep quoting this Bible, it fuels misogyny. It really fuels misogyny and toxic masculinity. And that has always been our problem. So unless we are ready to have this conversation that a man, especially when you come abroad, please try to help. If the dish are dirty, wash it. After all, your plate is also there. You can get the kids ready and take them to school. You can clean.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100% about what you're saying about the men, right? But in the interest of this, because there's nearly 700 people watching, right? I want us to be balanced. You see what you're saying? I want you to carry on saying it. But I also want to chip in that as much as you have, men who are doing X, Y, Z, let me tell you, Ella, there are also women, right? Who, you see, I always say something before I say that bit. The problem is not having power. The problem is the dissemination of the power that you've got. So, for example, a police officer, whether you're a woman or a man, if you become a police officer, because you're a police officer, that position comes with power. You have the power to arrest, you can confiscate a vehicle, you can do all sorts of things, right? But just to see a police officer and just get terrified, it's not, that makes no sense. The police officer's actions becomes questionable when we start to observe abuse of power, abuse of position. It's the same thing when you talk about a judge. Anybody knows that, that's a judge. A judge, the territory of a judge comes with vast amounts of power. The problem is not power. The problem is when you see that this judge has blatantly violated the human right of someone else, abused their position, they've acted ultra virus, they've done something unlawfully, then we start to challenge them. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's the same way. Look, this is why I always bang on about it. For me personally, all these hype about women independence, big deal, because independence is great. Even as a dude, I enjoy my independence. I appreciate it. So the independence is not the problem. Do you see what I'm saying? Like a man, you gotta be barking mad because your wife says, baby, myself and my girlfriends we're hanging out at a restaurant, maybe just girls' night. We're going to have a nice, meal out tonight and stuff. That's fine. As long as, watch this. Now, you telling me as your partner that you're going out with your girlfriends to enjoy, the weekend or the Saturday night, at a restaurant or bar and stuff. Fam, I don't mind being at home with the kids and putting my feet up. Go have a good time. Knock on the door at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'll let you in, right? I'll open